The slap wasn't loud, that's what I remember most. Plates didn't shatter. My father didn't stand up. The neighbors didn't call the police. It was just the sound of skin against skin and my mother's breath, sharp with certainty. Give me your credit card. Your sister needs $200,000. The way she said it, needs, as if oxygen had a price tag. I remember looking at my sister. She didn't look desperate, she looked composed. Almost patient. Like she was waiting for me to understand my role in the scene. I can't. I said. Not angry, just factual. That's when my mother stood. The chair legs scraped. The slap followed. My cheek burned, but not as much as the sentence that came after. Get out of this house. My sister didn't flinch. She only smiled, small, approving. As if something had finally been corrected, I left without arguing. No bag, no shouting. No declaration that one day they would regret this. I didn't even slam the door. The first year away was not triumphant. It was cramped apartments and contract jobs and pretending I wasn't humiliated when I explained I didn't talk much. To my family. I wasn't brave when I left. I was stunned. But distance has a strange way of clarifying things. They hadn't asked for help. They had demanded obedience. The credit card wasn't about money. It was about hierarchy. My sister had always been the investment. I had been the reserve. The refusal was the first time I stepped outside the structure. And once you step out, you see it. I built slowly. No dramatic leaps. I worked in financial compliance first. Long hours reviewing other people's mistakes. Patterns started to make sense. Risk, ego, overconfidence. I saw how families collapsed over undocumented loans and handshake agreements. Eventually, I started advising small businesses. Cautious ones. People who didn't want miracles. Just sustainability. 10 years passed without a single holiday invitation. I heard about my sister through extended relatives. Big real estate moves. Venture partnerships. A new house in a gated community. My mother called her visionary. I felt nothing, mostly. Occasionally a dull ache, but not envy. Silence became my boundary. The morning the calls came, I was reviewing a client's portfolio. 35 missed calls. All from mom, no texts, just calls. I stared at the screen for a long time before listening to the voicemail. Her voice had changed her, just thinner. We need to talk. It's urgent. I called back once. She answered on the first ring. Her explanation came in pieces. My sister's development project had overleveraged. Market shift. Investors pulling out. Personal guarantees triggered. Accounts frozen pending litigation. The house might be seized. They're saying criminal negligence, she added quickly. But it's a misunderstanding. And then, the pivot. If you could help restructure, just temporarily until this is resolved. There was no apology, not even for the slap, just urgency. Expectation dressed as desperation. I didn't agree. I didn't refuse. I'll review the documents, I said. The meeting was at a law office downtown. I arrived 5 minutes early. Dark suit, portfolio in hand. When I entered the conference room, my sister was already seated. No smile this time. Her jaw was tight. Eyes tired in a way I hadn't seen before. My mother stood when I walked in, as if unsure what gesture fit. 2 attorneys were present. Papers spread across the table. Numbers circled in red. The authority in the room wasn't emotional. It was procedural. Formal, unmistakable. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the child in the room. I listened as the lawyer explained exposure risk. Asset freezes. Options. Then they turned to me. Would you be willing to inject liquidity to prevent immediate foreclosure? Willing, not obligated. I asked questions. Calm ones. About collateral. About ownership structure. About personal liability. My sister tried to interrupt once. The lawyer stopped her gently. Let him finish. That moment was small. But clear. I wasn't being overruled. I wasn't being slapped into compliance. I was being consulted. After an hour I closed my folder. I can offer a structured loan, I said. Market rate. Secured against remaining assets. No co-signing. No personal guarantees from me. Full transparency access. My mother blinked. You're charging interest. Silence stretched. This wasn't revenge. It was boundary. My sister looked at me for a long time. Not angry. Not grateful. Just recalculating. The lawyer nodded. That's reasonable. Authority had spoken. The dynamic was settled. Not emotionally, but legally. They signed. Outside the building, my mother tried to reach for my arm. You could come for dinner, she said. We can talk about everything. I stepped back gently. I've already said what I needed to say. 10 years ago, she didn't argue. There was nothing left to demand. I drove home alone. There was no victory soundtrack. No satisfaction swelling in my chest. Just steadiness. I hadn't punished them. I hadn't rescued them unconditionally. I had chosen myself once. And then again. The missed calls stopped after that. Not because everything was healed. But because the hierarchy had quietly dissolved. And that was enough.